So, okay, why should Lego care? Right? Why does this really damage their reputation? I think the most important thing is you're alienating your customer base and you're turning them into essentially, the haves and the have-nots, and you just don't feel like a valued customer. Now, for me, I had to set my alarm. I had to get up at all hours of the morning to try and buy this set. And even then, unfortunately, because the site was crashing, I was not able to place an order. But one thing that was really interesting to me was they made this available for sale at 8 a.m. And I'll even show the page. There it is, 8 a.m. Pacific time. And Lego, I think, really, and I know a lot of the viewers are going to be people in America, and I love America, so there's nothing against America. But I think it just shows that Lego here are clearly favoring a particular market. 8 a.m. is a perfect time, right? You wake up in the morning, you have your breakfast, you set your computer up, you're ready to order, right? According to my calculations, this was 4 p.m. London time. Terrible time, right? School pickup, you're leaving work, you're driving, just a really bad time. And in, Oceania and Asia, it's like some ridiculous time in the morning, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. So why make this like perfect time for America? And what's even more confusing to me is why make it on a weekday? Why not make it on a weekend, at least where it's a little bit fairer and everybody has an opportunity to buy this? Now, you might argue, okay, well, they need staff, and if the site crashes, well, that happened anyway, and clearly it didn't help the situation. So it's really strange. And I'll maybe just skip to another point that I was going to make here about favoring particular markets, because I always have a little chuckle when you see all these YouTubers and they say, oh, this is the US dollar price of a set. And everybody always quotes Lego prices in US dollars. So here's just an example that most people are probably familiar with this set. The Lego UCS Millennium Falcon, released in October 2017, it was 850 US dollars. Okay, so let's quote the US dollar price. Now, if you have a look at the if I just take a simple example of Australian dollars, right? In October 2017, the price, $1 US was worth about $1.30 Australian. Okay, so what that means, and you can see it was pretty consistent in the time period before it. And in fact, the Australian dollar was even stronger before that, right? I mean, if you go back a bit earlier, it was even stronger here. But let's just go with 1.3. So 850 US dollars was 1,105 Australian dollars at the time of the release in a straight FX conversion. Now, in all fairness, realistically, you might say, well, Australia's a smaller market and geographically it's further away, so the shipping costs are greater and all this kind of thing, right? So we could say, okay, well, let's be a bit more conservative and say charge 1,150, or maybe even charge $1,200. But no. Lego decided that they would sell it for $1,300, right? And so as a consumer in Australia, you're paying an extra $200 for really no reason at all. And so you just feel like you don't matter. You almost feel like Lego is saying, you know what, we don't want you to buy it. And it really has got to the point, even for me, just generally speaking, I just don't buy these large sets from Lego. I just hope that and you do see a little bit of this. People buy a set like this and they start making it and they just can't be bothered. They realize it's so big, it's going to take them so many hours to finish. Or they build it and they don't really know where to put it or what to do with it, so they sell it. Now, I don't own this particular set, but I do own a couple of other larger sets, and that's what I do. I just wait for somebody who wants to sell it secondhand, and I get it for a cheaper price, because I really just out of principle go, no, I'm not going to spend an extra $200 just because Lego decides to mark it up. Secondly, why this damages Lego's reputation is it's encouraging profiteering, price gouging, and fakes. Now, I actually sent an email to Lego and they came back to me. I won't show you all the long detailed email, but basically I said, yeah, we we're really sorry about that you had this experience, and we do try and protect the Lego community from this kind of stuff. But let me just show you what happens here. So here is a set, remember, that was meant to be available for sale for 21 days. It's sold out in 2 hours. And here we are basically, 12 hours after the release. And I go to eBay and there are 3 people selling this Lego set at these prices, right? And so, I mean, it came up here, 530 Australian dollars, 1,000 US dollars. So that's about 1,500 US dollars. And same for this one, and same for this one. So here are 3 sellers already selling this set for 3 times the price that it was available for retail. Now, I mean, and what's interesting to me is if you look at these listings, they don't even try and make excuses and say, oh, I accidentally bought 2, or I got an extra one for a present, and I don't need it. They're just saying, hey, yeah, I've got this set and it's available for sale. And interestingly, I mean, they even state, hey, I can't send it until July. This is actually a violation even of eBay listing policy, because if you you can list pre-sale items on eBay, but you have to ship it within 30 days because there's certain time periods in terms of, buyer protection and all that sort of stuff. So they're even violating eBay policy. But I don't really, to me, the problem isn't these 3 sellers. The problem is the rules to the game that Lego is setting up, right? It's a bit like somebody shooting a 2-pointer in basketball or a 3-pointer in basketball. You can't get upset at the person who shoots a 3-pointer because, they tried to perfect their 3-point shot. And if they scored a 3-pointer, they should get a 3-pointer. Who knows who these people are? There are professional scalpers. There are people who have third-party software that is specifically designed to, get into these sites in a timely manner and buy large quantities of it. And they know what's popular, and they know what's going to sell. They know what they can make money on, and they can do it. And even this limit of 2, there's nothing stopping you from creating multiple Bricklink accounts, using multiple different credit cards. People could buy, and I'm sure that there's people who would have bought 4, 6, 8, 10 of these, right? And good luck to them, Like, if they're going to make money out of it, good luck to them. This is Lego's responsibility. This should not happen. You should not have a system that's designed such that people can make $1,000 of this set when it's barely been made available for 12 hours. It's really it's really poor. And you can even see here in the the details, they've even included in the listing details, they're saying that they don't get charged. I don't know if you can read it. It says you will only be charged if this project is funded, in brackets, receives at least 3,000 pre-orders, and once the product is shipped to you. So they don't pay any money until it's actually shipped, right? And yet they can sell it and get the money today. Yeah. So this is Lego's responsibility. And so it really changes the dynamics of what Lego as a product really is. And just as an example, and if you look at Rolex, there are a lot of Rolex watches that you have to wait 2, 3, even 5 years to get. And it's got to the point that for you now to buy a Rolex, you have to kind of be in the inner circle. And Rolex are very protective of, hey, if we sell you a watch, we don't want you to sell it on the secondhand market and profit off it. And if you do, then we're kind of going to exclude you from, the Rolex club. And so, that's the brand, that's the image. Rolex is like this exclusive thing only for really connected people with a lot of money. Is that what Lego wants to project itself as a brand? I mean, you got to remember, okay, sets like this are a different part of the market, but primarily Lego is still a kid's toy. It's a mass-produced kid's toy. And this is the image that they're projecting. I think it's very dangerous. The next point is I think it really makes Lego seem tacky as a company, saying, oh, well, we're only going to produce 30,000 of these. Whether you like it or not, every single collectible, whether it's a figurine, whether it's a card, whether even it's a video game, it has a finite life. It has a finite manufacturing process, right? And often it's very limited. You know, if you look at figurines, you know, often figurines are only available for a month. That's it. So the company makes a whole bunch of them. They put them in stores. That's it. And most I know now some figurine companies do. They say, oh, okay, we've only made 1,000 of these, and they even individually number them. It's a marketing gimmick. Everything has a limited quantity. So I really don't like Lego coming out and saying, oh, we're only going to make 30,000, because it only creates artificial demand and it inflates the prices, and it encourages scalping and price gouging, right? Ultimately, as I said, anybody who wants to buy a Lego set should be able to buy it. And a set like this, it's $530. It's not cheap. Even for an adult, that's a lot of money. So if you're sitting there as an adult saying, hey, I'm willing to spend this money to buy your product because I love your product and I believe in it, and then that company says, well, actually, we're going to really limit the quantity because we want to artificially drive up the price, it's just silly. And I would like to think, and I do think, that there was nothing sinister or deliberate in what Lego were doing, but it's just so badly mismanaged, I think, and it's really damaging their product. And I think ultimately, coming back to the point that I was saying before, as a consumer, you just don't feel valued, and it just doesn't produce brand loyalty. And I know you're going to say, well, Lego, it's unique and there's nothing else for it. Well, people, especially adults, or even kids, kids have a poor attention span. Adults are very time poor. They'll move on to other things. Even with collectibles, they'll move on to cards, video games, figurines, etc. And especially for adult fans of Lego, it's hard. You see all these videos on YouTube where people have rooms dedicated to Lego. That's not the reality. Most people, they have family, they have kids. They don't have a room dedicated to Lego. They don't want their kids to touch it and break it. So it's a big investment, not just with money, but even space, to say, hey, I'm going to buy this massive Lego castle. I'm going to have it in my house. I'm going to display it somewhere proudly where it can't get damaged. There's not many sets you can do that with, right? And so I think it's really disappointing when Lego come and create this system. And just to finish off, I wanted to show another example here about how Lego are mismanaging it and not creating brand loyalty and some of the stuff that's going on in the market. So here's just another simple example of the Lion Knight's castle. So again, castle set, very popular. This retails for 600 Australian dollars. You can see it's temporarily out of stock. Can't buy it anywhere. There's no shops that have it. Lego Online doesn't have it. Lego Store doesn't have it. And in fact, even I noticed a funny thing. The Lego stores, at least in my region, they don't even have a phone number. So you can't even call them up and say, do you have this in stock? And I know that because then I went to the store and asked them in person. And I said, well, next time I want to save myself the trouble and ring, do you have a phone number? They said, no, we don't have a phone number. I've never heard of a retail shop that doesn't have a phone number. But okay, $600, you can't get this, right? So, okay, you go to Amazon. There's 3 available, $833, $1,099, and $1,368. So even at the cheapest, you've got a markup of 50% for a product that hasn't even been retired. So what does that encourage? It encourages price gouging. It encourages scalpers, and this stuff is selling. Here's an example on eBay. It sold yesterday, $799 plus $59 postage. And you include the postage because I believe the price on the Lego store, it's after a certain threshold, it's free postage. So that's your total cost, $600. You buy it from Lego, but people are spending $860 on eBay because they can't get it anywhere else, right? And same thing on Amazon, you know, similar prices. So what does all this lead to? This is what it leads to. This is the end game, right? This is a fake. This is not genuine Lego, right? And again, don't hate on this person, right? They're not trying to trick you. They're not trying to rip you off. You'll notice that in the listing, there's no mention of the word Lego. They're saying it's compatible. They're saying it's a mock. They can't say it's fake, because if they say it's fake, it'll be removed from eBay, right? And even if you look at the picture here, it says clearly in big letters, capital letters in red, not Lego brand. And you know, usually when you buy a fake, because fakes as collectibles or resale value, they're basically worthless, right? It's not going to go up in value. It's just going to depreciate. And so usually they're very cheap, and they're a fraction of they might be a third of the cost or a quarter of the cost of the real thing. This is $350, right? Plus postage. So it's over half the price. Well, that's about 60% of the price of the original. And I'm pretty confident, I'm actually very confident that people who are willing to spend $350 for a fake would be willing to spend $600 for the real thing. But they can't, because they can't get it anywhere and it's not available. And it's selling. You can see there were 7 available, half of them are sold. And you know, again, if you just look at the the images here, they're even showing you the real thing. And there's nowhere on this box that has Lego printed on it. But you can see even the set number is wrong. The if you compare the boxes, the genuine one is a different shape. It's a lot thicker. So they're not trying to rip you off here and pass this off as the real thing. They're clearly saying, hey, this is fake, but you can get it at a cheaper price. And this is what Lego is actively encouraging, and this is how they are alienating their fans. And I just think, coming back to really what this whole thing was with the the Lego designer, the Bricklink designer program, I think Lego really need to pick up their game with this, because they're just they're just shooting themselves in the foot. And I think it gets to a point where if you're not going to do something properly, don't do it at all. It's a bit like if you're going to make a car and it's breaking down and it's having issues, then people are going to say, hey, that car brand is not good. Go and buy another car brand. And if Lego is saying, hey, we're going to make these really exclusive and we're going to limit it to certain people and we're going to favor certain markets, you really are going to alienate your consumer base, and you're going to do a lot of brand damage. And Lego has actually been at times rated as the most valuable brand in the world. Not the most valuable company, but the most valuable brand, the Lego brand. And I think if they keep up stuff like this, they're going to do a lot of damage to themselves. But I would love to know what you guys think about this. I'm sure there are a lot of other people who are very passionate about this. I know there would be other people who have had similar disappointing experiences. I would love to know what you think. Leave a comment. Thank you for listening to this, and I will see you in the next video.